What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's been a while. If you're just tuning in, this is The Trades. And we have a great show tonight. Gonna go on in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. We're gonna go live with our guest. If you are in the comments, let us know where you're from. Gotta catch everyone up on everything. Hope everyone's doing good. We're gonna go live. We're gonna start the show in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Tell a friend. It's The Trades. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Click like. And get your questions ready for our guest today. We got Lowell, Massachusetts in the house. For all you B-boys and B-girls, we ain't just talking about breaking today. We're talking about hip-hop in its entirety. And we couldn't do this without the DJ, so I got a DJ as a guest. It's going to be a great show, y'all. We're going to start in 2 minutes now. 2 minutes. Yeah. If you want to know, you're listening to sounds of DJ Flag. Let me put this mix on the chat if you want to listen to it. Give a shout out to DJ Flag. Samoa in the house. What? Here's the thing, you know, in the trades, man, I don't like to play it full speed. I like to slow it down. Usually this is break mix to dance to, but I slowed it down because I want something to chill to. And it's copyright free. Samoa in the house. If you have any questions for our guests, get them ready. All right. I'm going to start the countdown now. "30 seconds to the show." This video has been brought to you by Break Connect. Go to the website and register. Check out what they have to offer at breakconnect.com. Yo, what's up? This is Shadow Rockin' Pro for one of the Floor Gangs and Knuckleneck Tribe, and you're watching The Trades, show about breaking, hip-hop, and the business of. How's everyone doing? It's been a while since I've been on this channel. I think the last time I was on this channel, I basically did an interview with Dom Key from Lions of Zion out there in Philadelphia. We talked about him being on Twitch and being a commentator on that end of the spectrum of live streaming. So I'll give a shout out to our last guest, the B-Boy Dom Key. Speaking of which, before I clean house, right, before we get our guests on, Just a little announcement, light announcement. October 20th, 4 a.m. Pacific Standard, 7 a.m. East Standard. I will be going live on the B-Boy Network Instagram with Red Bull, and we're doing a collaboration where we're going to be doing the bracket reveal. We're going to be running down everyone that made it from the last chance cipher to get onto that big stage, and we're going to run down the bracket, my predictions of who might take it to the finals, and talking about the judges and everything. Shout out to B-Boy Network. Shout out to Red Bull for giving me the opportunity to do this, because it'll be my first kind of predictions on the, I wanted to do it in the US. Like, I talked to Josh from B-Boy Network, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it in the, like, maybe one day we could do it for the US finals. And they just asked Josh, oh, we want B-Boy Network and Pro Folks to do the reveal. I said, I'm in. And I saw the time. I'm like, I'm sleeping early because I'm not going to mess this one up. So shout out to Red Bull. Shout out to B-Boy Network. It's going to be one hell of a show. Again, October 20th, 4 a.m. West Coast time, 7 a.m. East Coast time. And that's a Friday. That's within, it's in a week and a half. So check that out over there on the Red Bull Instagram and the B-Boy Network Instagram. It's going to be fun. Hopefully I'll be posting it. Hopefully I can post it on the B-Boy Network and on here. And that'd be great. You know me, I'm going to do a highlight video and everything like that. Okay, so before we get our guest on, he's ready to go, we got to clean a little house. First of all, 89% of you are not subscribed. You guys are watching the content, right? You guys are enjoying it. You're enjoying the long form. You're enjoying the short form. The thing is, the channel's not monetized yet. And the way you can help that out is, one, click the like on the videos you like. I'm not going to make you like every video, because not everyone's going to like everything. But if you like it, it's free to press like, right? And if you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? You're watching my stuff anyway. I mean, you're not paying any more money to, like, watch me. So you might as well subscribe. What, you're going to get an update? So what? Just do it. You know what I'm saying? Help a brother out. You know what I'm saying? So again, 89% are not subscribed. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, or not. Don't click the bell, but just subscribe anyway. All right. So I got that out of the way. CBD. Now, if you don't know about CBD, CBD is from the cannabis plant, not like THC, which gives you the psychoactive high. CBD is more of the healing properties of it. CBD is a good component that takes down inflammation. So, for instance, someone like me that's 48 that still wants to do air flares and do backflips and front flips, I need recovery, and CBD is the perfect recovery. So Zenworld.com has perfect CBD products, such as the nano drops. Basically, you put this in your coffee, your sports drink, or your water, and after your workout, you drink it. Now, if you don't want to drink it, they have the option of the CBD freeze. This works just like a icy hot, but you guessed it, icy hot just massages your sore muscles. But with the active ingredient of CBD, it actually can help heal and repair. So if you go to zenworld.com, you put in the promo code PROFOWON, you get 10% off of these fine products. And why not save money while you rest, relax, and recover? All right. Now that we got all that out of the way, now here's the thing. Most of you guys that are viewers of mine are B-boys and B-girls, with a smidget of y'all that are fully into the hip-hop spectrum. And I know other channels just cover the dance part, but for me, just for the receipts, just for the respect of the whole culture, I want to put on other elements. The only element that I haven't put on here yet, actually there's two elements, which is the MCs and the graffiti writers. And I will get to that. You know what I'm saying? I will get to that. But not just for the fact that the B-boys and the B-girls give the aesthetic of hip hop. We were like one of the first ones to kind of give the visualization in the 80s. We wouldn't be here without the DJs. So my special guest coming from New York City, we got my man, Rob Swift. What's up, Rob?
What up? What up?
How you doing, brother? Thank you for being
I'm
on the
well.
show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. So this is like it's funny because I had I think the first DJ I had on the show was Cubert. That was like on Facebook. That was like 6 years ago, something like that. And the second DJ was Shortcut because I went to we went to like we didn't go to the same high school, but we all saw each other at the same time. And then
Hmm.
recently was Redmatic. So I was like, okay, I got the West Coast guy so far. I need an East Coast guy. And what better yet? I was like, yo, I need to get Rob on here. So thank you for
No
so much for
doubt.
being on here, man.
And
So
happy
okay.
birthday to DJ Qbert.
Oh yeah, that's right. It just passed.
Yeah.
That guy's old.
Hmm.
I mean,
He
like yeah,
in number he might be old,
yeah,
but
yes.
he's young at heart for sure.
Yes, for sure. So let's just start it off, like, because, like, when I first, first messaged you, you're talking a lot about your history. I was like, wait, 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 wait. I want to save this for the show because I was like, it
Mm.
was super interesting to me. I was like, I didn't even know that because, we usually, when we see the people that we see that's in the scene, we just identify them as what their craft is. If you were like,
Right.
like let's say if Dream, like I just know him as a graffiti writer, but maybe he was an MC and I just never knew about it, right?
Hmm.
So let's first start out with, when did you first see hip hop and what did you do when you first saw it?
Damn, that's a really tough question to ask because you know how like you watch interviews with first generation DJs or rappers and they'll say something like, I was born into hip hop. Sometimes I'm like, no, you weren't. You were born before hip hop was even created. Like, I was literally born into the culture. Like, I grew up here in Jackson Heights, Queens. I was born in Elmhurst Hospital, which is like a 2 block walk from where I live right now. And it was 1972. My parents immigrated here to New York City, specifically Jackson Heights, from Colombia. My parents met in Colombia. My dad flew to New York first, got himself established, and then sent for my mom and my older brother in 71. And I was born in 1972, May 14th.
Okay.
And so the following year is the consensus date
Right.
of hip hop being born,
Yeah.
August 11th, 1973. So I can say I was literally born into it. Being here
Right.
in New York City, the graffiti is what I discovered first and
Okay.
foremost. I have vivid memories of riding the 7 train into Times Square with my family to watch kung fu flicks, Shaw
Oh,
Brothers
damn. Okay.
movies,
Okay.
and all
Right.
that
42nd Street,
on
right?
right on 42nd on the 40
Right.
doo-wop, as we used to call it. But I was a 4, 5 year old kid just taking into graffiti first. That was the first
Mm.
element I was introduced to. Um, Not too long after that, my dad picked up DJing because
Okay.
we were poor. We were poor, to be honest with you. My dad, when he got here, was working in factories, and I remember him getting my mom a job at the factory that he worked at, and they used to like make parts for like planes and shit like that.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
factory, yeah, it was a factory called LeCraft, and to make extra money to support the family because we lived in a 1 bedroom apartment here in Jackson Heights in a tenement building on 89th Street between 37th Avenue and Roosevelt Avenue, right near the 90th Street 7 train stop, Elmhurst. Um, to make extra money to get the bills paid and all that and put food on the table, my dad picked up DJing. So that was the second element of hip hop that I got introduced to. That's
That's
not to
crazy.
say that,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, so was he playing more? So that had to be what, 75? 75,
Yeah, like
76?
75, 76. And you read my mind because I was gonna say it's not to say that my dad was a DJ like Kool Herc or
Right,
Hollywood or
right.
Grandmaster Flash or any of those first generation hip hop DJs. My dad was specifically playing Latin music, salsa,
Okay,
merengue,
okay,
cumbia,
okay.
because that is his heritage, right? He comes from
Right,
Colombia.
right.
So his friends would hire him to DJ parties in and around the city. He would bring myself, my mom, my older brother to these gigs with him. That's one thing I really appreciate about my dad is that he included us, right, on these outings to go DJ. So we would help him break his equipment down, pack it up, transport it to churches, his friends' houses. We would go as far as New Jersey sometimes. And
Wow, yeah, I was about to ask that.
yeah,
So this wasn't just in Queens. This was like all around.
all around, all around.
Dope,
And
dope.
yeah, man, I just have fond memories of watching him control people through music without ever opening his mouth, depending on the kind of songs he was playing and when he played them, he would just control people's emotions and people's physicality, like literally get people to that were sitting to stand up and walk over to the middle of a living room or the middle of a dance floor if we were in a hall somewhere and dance. And that was just a really cool power I felt that my dad had.
Yeah, so was he very in demand as far as just like, hey, I need you to spin this party. Was he like a
Yes.
rarity? Was he very niche? So that way that's why he had so much extensive reach and stuff?
Amongst his friends, he was very in demand because DJing in the 70s wasn't something that everyone did
Right,
the way it is now. You know what I mean? Like
right,
in
right, right.
2023, like everybody's a DJ now, right?
Anyone can DJ.
Yeah, right,
Shout out to
exactly.
Serato.
Right. Shout out to technology like Serato, the, phase gadgets, laptops, you know, all of this different technology obviously did not exist in the 1970s. So you had to make a real commitment to be a DJ back then. So he was in demand because DJs were a minority. They weren't really as an abundant element of what we know to be hip hop in the 70s the way it is now. I mean, I wouldn't even say abundant. Now it's an overabundance. Like I feel like there are too many DJs to be honest
Yeah,
with you. But so yeah, his friends would hire him to DJ these parties because he was the only one with the gear and the record collection.
crazy.
But I was fortunate enough to have an older brother. He's like 58 now. So, he's the same age as cats like Rowers of Theodore, for example,
Right,
and
right.
a lot of the first generation hip hop DJs and b-boys and graph artists and rappers, MCs. He came up in that generation that we all deem to be,
Right,
the generation that gave birth to this amazing
right,
culture. My brother
right.
was running with those guys and he was a part of that whole wave. So what my brother would do, I tell this story a lot, is when my parents would go off to work and we had days off from school, my brother would invite his friends from junior high school. At the time, I was in elementary school. I was in a, public school, PS 89, in Elmhurst. And I just remember having kids. I just remember having fond memories of being a kid, 7, 8 years old, and my brother inviting his friends who had access to their parents' record collections, and within that library of music that his friends would bring would be artists like James Brown and Aretha Franklin and Bob James and Chic and Aretha Franklin, as I said, like all the different artists that the legendary DJs were playing on those legendary cassette tapes that we grew up listening to from the
Okay.
park jams and all
Okay. So
that.
this is a thing, right? So now this is because this is like, like there's the founding fathers, documentary, right? Where all these
Hmm.
guys from Brooklyn are saying stuff. You're from Queens, it's like, which is like within that, those areas and stuff like that. So were you guys playing was it like, since your brother, since he had you guys had the equipment because your family had the equipment, was your brother
Exactly.
playing Apache? Was your brother playing the Mexican? Was he playing Just Begun? Or was it a mixed match of everything? Like,
It was, well, hip hop, when you think about it, right?
mhm,
It is a mix match of everything. It accretes by attaching itself to all styles of music, all styles of dance, all styles of communication, all styles of art. That's how it grows. It attaches itself to everything. So when I hear a legend say, well, in Queens, the DJs there were playing disco. Up in the Bronx, we were playing breaks. I pause because Chic Good Times is a break. Like, it's a
I mean,
popular break, right? But
yeah,
but if you go to a record store in 1975, the song, the record, it's going to be in the disco section.
right. Yeah,
To my dad, that's a disco song. To my
right.
brother, who was in Queens in the same apartment as my dad, it's a break.
Mm,
So that whole concept of like, well, what kind of songs were you playing? All DJs back then were playing from the same pool of records, but intrinsically, DJs within the hip hop genre of DJing, to them, the more variety in your record crates, the better DJ you are, the more people you could reach, which is at its heart, at its core, the essence of what hip hop is. It's appealing to as many different people as possible by attaching yourself to what those people listen to what those people vibe to whether it's, yeah, again, the dance, the art, the spoken word, or the music. You know what I mean? It's a variety. Intrinsically, it's a variety. It's just a combination of all things, everything can be used in
right.
hip hop. And
Yeah.
so with regards to the music, yeah, my brother was playing all of the same music, the same breaks that the DJs in the Bronx were playing, thanks to his friends because they had access to these records.
Right.
Um, so, that whole debate about, well, Queens DJs were playing disco and Bronx DJs were playing breaks. Disco, within that genre, there are breaks. So again, in my brother's hands, it's a break record. In my dad's hands, it was a disco record. Hip hop DJing can be defined by what you do to the record, not the genre that you play. It doesn't matter what genre, so long as you're flipping these songs.
So did you see? Okay, so being a dancer, right? I have to ask this question because there's a whole, the Bronx Brooklyn debate, right? They were rocking, right? Like, rock dance. It seemed like rock dance was everywhere in New York. Everyone had their kind of own interpretations in each borough. Did you happen to see this dance when your brother was playing, or did you see straight up breaking at this point, or like maybe the evolution into it?
Well, breaking, the term, wasn't really coined until the early 80s.
Mm,
So when I was a kid watching my brother, I have vivid memories of it was like my my 8th year birthday party. And my brother threw on bongo rock on my dad's turntables, and my friends just kind of gathered around and watched my brother rock. We coined it rocking back then. That's what we know to be breaking as today. In the 70s, we used the word rocking to describe it. And so, as you said, whether it was first generation b-boys like Charlie Rock, Rockwell Association, Rocksteady crew. Like the word rock is what we use to describe the dance,
Right.
and breaking, for whatever reason, took over and became the term that was
Right.
what those second generation b-boys started
Right.
using to
Right.
describe the dance, and then media took hold of the term, and
Yeah.
that's it. This is what we're going to call it, breaking. But I recognized it as being rocking, and
So
I
with all the
myself,
floor moves and everything, like just maybe not as advanced, but like kind of
with the
like
floor
the up.
moves,
Okay.
with
Okay.
all the top rock, and then going down to the floor, executing your footwork, we coined that as rocking
Right.
back then.
Okay.
Back then,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
then
Right.
it transitioned into this new term, which we know to be
Okay.
now as
So that,
breaking.
and this is going to segue to the next thing because you brought this up when we were doing the setup and the sound checks, right? Which was, yo, I live like a few blocks away from USA skating rink, which is like,
Yes.
oh snap! I was like, oh snap! I need to ask you these questions. So
Yeah.
definitely, you were there in that whole scene of it, like people coming in and bowing there, and you even told me this that you were in a b-boy crew with certain
Yeah.
people. So let's talk
I
about
was
that
in.
now. Let's
Yeah. I was in two
okay.
crews. All right. So for those that are watching that don't know what USA roller skating rink is, but watch the movie Star Wars, the scene with Dynamic Rockers battling Rocksteady crew was filmed in a roller skating rink in Jackson Heights, Queens, where I live, where I'm talking to you from right now. I live on 82nd Street and between 34th Avenue and 35th Avenue, right off the 7 train, 82nd Street, Jackson Heights. I can walk about 11 blocks, 12 blocks to 69th Street and Roosevelt Avenue. It's like a 10-minute walk from my house right now. And what is now a fish market used to be USA roller skating rink, the epicenter of hip hop here in Jackson Heights, Queens. And it's dope that you're showing footage right now.
Yeah, I
That
kind of
took
have to. Yeah, right
Yeah,
here.
that
Yeah, yeah,
took
yep.
that took place. What we're watching right now, that took place here in Jackson Heights, Queens. So as a kid, now fast forward, I'm older. I'm in the fifth grade. I'm 10, 11 years old. And back then, kids had a lot more freedom. It's not the way it is now, in the sense that I remember at the time I grew up, as I was saying earlier, on 89th Street and Roosevelt Avenue, between Roosevelt and 37th Avenue. And my friends and I would walk for all of Roosevelt from 89th Street down to 69th Street, 20 blocks. We would walk on a Saturday afternoon, like around 5, 6 o'clock, walk inside USA and roller skate and then battle all the b-boys that were there. So, because again, that was the epicenter of hip hop and breaking, especially during that time. So, what was dope was USA was an all ages venue. So
Right.
it's not like you got kicked out after a certain time. Like
Yeah.
we would be there. I kid you not. This may sound crazy to y'all, but I'd be 10, 11 years old and I'd be there till like 11:30 at night, midnight. Obviously with my older brother, rarely did I go by myself, but you'd be there and you'd break, and then you'd get to watch a concert, Fearless 4, Run DMC, Just Ice, New Edition.
Wow.
Like it was the most amazing venue, and it was right here in the neighborhood. So as a kid, me and my friends were immersed in, well, again, at the time we called it rocking, right?
Right. Right. Right.
But yeah, we were immersed in the dance element of hip hop. And yes, I belong to two crews.
All right.
So in the sixth grade, I formed a crew with a guy named Lester Fernandez, who is now known as Psycho Les from the Beatnuts. He and I,
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yep. He and I
Yeah.
were in the same homeroom together, the same sixth grade homeroom. And we also started DJing together. He's the one that convinced me to ask my brother to teach us how to DJ. So
Wow.
Les, he is an integral part of my history as a hip hop artist, DJ, dancer, former graph writer. I used to write tags, I rhymed, and all of that I did with Les. And
That's
so
crazy.
he and I formed a crew. We called ourselves the Fantastic Breakers, TFB.
I mean, all right, wait,
And
real quick though. Fantastic, is that because like dynamic was kind of like
right,
like
yeah. Look,
like let's be
yeah,
something different
yeah,
than dynamic. All right, yeah.
right.
I made the
Yeah.
connection right away when you said
Totally.
that.
Those were our heroes because
Right.
dynamic rockers were from Queens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those were our heroes. Like, the Bronx had Rocksteady, we had Dynamic. And
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, we called ourselves the Fantastic Breakers. I was more of a popper, but every now and then I would go down on the floor, do my footwork and all that. Les was more of a rocker breaker.
Mm.
And so we used to go to USA, battle dudes. I'm not going to say that we were the best breakers. I'm
No, but
not
you
going
were
to say
there.
that,
You were
but
there.
we were right
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
spinning on our backs with
yeah.
fucking windbreakers on and Adidas with the fat laces. I remember, we used to take, how like when you're looking at a graffiti book or whatever, and there's those
Yeah.
characters with like the fat, swollen Adidas.
Right.
The way we got them fat like that, like looking all swole, was we used to fuck up our feet, yo. We used to like buy the Adidas. We used to go, there's a spot that's still open here in Jackson Heights called Army and Navy. And we used to get our Pumas from there, our Adidas, our Lee pants,
Okay.
our, alligator polo shirts and shit, and Lee jackets. And yeah, we used to get the Adidas. So what we would do is get the laces, but before we would put our feet inside the shell toe Adidas, we would take another sock and sort of like put it halfway on our foot. And then the part of the sock that was kind of flapping, we would fold it right over our foot so that it made the tongue of the Adidas pop up more.
Damn.
And that's how, like, if you look at pictures, especially like the graffiti characters of like their Adidas looking fat, that's how we got it to look in reality. We would kind of put an extra sock and then flap the part that wasn't on all the way just under the tongue of the Adidas shell toes so that it kind of stuck up more, and then the laces would just pop more. But that shit fucked up my feet. To this day, my feet look fucked up because of that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of shit that we were into. So it was me and Les, the Fantastic Breakers, and then I used to run with another crew. We didn't call ourselves anything, but it was my boy David Soto, who unfortunately is locked up right now. My boy Joey Nay. Nay's the guy that gave me my graffiti name, Rob Ski. Big ups to my boy Little Ram Romero. I saw him like a few years ago. I'm sure he's still like in the neighborhood. And my other boy, White Boy Billy, who lived on like 86th Street and like 34th Avenue, right across the street from Nay, my boy Joey. And it was us just battling whoever we came across that looked like B-boys. Back then, you could kind of look at someone, a kid your age, and you could kind of tell if he was a B-boy or not. So we'd be like, yo, you break? And he'd be like, yeah. And then we grab cardboard from a Crazy Eddie store or PC Richards, drag it to someone's corner and then battle dudes. Like that's the kind of shit that we were on.
Hell yeah. Damn. So that was already in your blood to just battle. I mean, just from that
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Like I
while
said,
you're
man,
talking,
I grew into this shit.
Yeah. While you're talking, I was just showing a video of Psycho Les from the Beat Nuts, just like record digging and stuff, just to give some reference to the audience. Man, that was dope, man. That's dope. So, okay. I was like, just real quick on the side too, because you're from Queens. I remember I was watching Math Hoffa, and there's Mr. Mech in there, Emeka, and he was talking about like, yeah, my brother wasn't dynamic. I was like, oh snap! I'm wondering if like you have any connection like to Mr. Mecca, who's on the Math Hoffa podcast.
Nah, I don't. And it's not like I could say my brother was in any of the legendary b-boy crews from New York City around that time. But my brother was a b-boy. Right. My brother was a DJ. My brother was a graph writer. To this day, if you look at my brother's handwriting, he writes in graph.
That's dope.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So, like his signature is a graph italic. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, my brother did it all. He DJ'd, he rapped, he wrote graph, he b-boyed. And so naturally, being the younger brother, I just took on pretty much that world, man. And thank God I did, because here I am today.
Right. Okay. So we're talking, because I asked a lot of these this question to a lot of people that was from the 80s transitioning into the 90s. For a lot of people, for someone like Lil Caesar from Air Force Crew in LA, I asked him, when did breaking die for you? And he's like 86. I asked Michael Holman, who was like the manager of New York City Breakers. I go, when was your last gig? He was like around 87, something like that. And then I asked DJ Renegade, who's out there in the UK, he's like 86. So it seems like for me, the last time I saw was 85. I was 10 years old, and they were like, why are you doing that old shit? How about for you? What was the year that was just like, why are you doing that old shit? Like,
yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised at hearing Michael Holman, someone of that caliber, say it died for him in 86. That's interesting, because I was one of those kids watching graffiti rock, going to Times Square to watch Beat Street. And I recall it dying earlier than 86.
Okay. For me, he was outside of the country. It was outside of the country. Okay. It was like their last gig. It was their last gig.
That makes sense.
It was overseas, and after that, it was like there was no one calling anymore. So I was like, okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense that it was overseas, because for me in New York City, breaking died. I guess you could say a second time, because obviously the first generation breakers, dudes like Charlie Rock, Batch, Spy, Track 2, they kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Well, you think about the Zulu Kings, like the people that we consider to be the first breakers, right? They stopped like in 75, right?
Right. Yeah. A lot of them.
Right?
Charlie Rock did for sure. Yeah.
Right. And although a lot of the Latino, specifically the Puerto Rican b-boys, continued on, a lot of them were looked at as like, kind of like they were made fun of. Even though they kept on with the dance, they were made fun of because the first original b-boys, breakers, Zulu Kings, stopped doing it. So it died in the late 70s. Thanks to Rocksteady, Crazy Legs kind of breathed new life into the dance. Then between like 80 and 84, to me, that was the height of the dance at its purest form, right?
Yeah.
But after 84, when that movie Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo came out,
yeah,
that's it, bro. It was like, I
apologize for the West Coast.
No, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Nothing lasts forever, right? And impermanence will touch every facet of life. So I'm not mad at y'all at all for that. But when that movie came out, it's like Hollywood rang the
Yeah.
sponge of hip hop completely dry. Like there was literally no water left in that
Right.
sponge.
Right.
And that's it, dude. 84, that movie to me was like the tombstone being placed right onto the ground saying, this is it. This shit is
Right.
dead. Because
Right.
after that, nobody in my neighborhood was breaking. Nobody was doing it because it just got super played out.
Right.
And I remember I just started to really dive into my DJing by 84. I
Mm.
started
Okay.
DJing,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I started DJing in 83, but I was still going to USA, battling dudes, breaking, me and my other crew of dudes that used to terrorize the neighborhood, wanting to battle cats, going to Queens Boulevard, the Lost Battalion. It was a youth center. I remember dudes used to play basketball in there, and they had this shiny wood floor right near the mall. It's like a quarter mile away from the Queens Mall, and we used to go there and battle. But by 84, we stopped going to Lost Battalion to break. We just go to play ball, and whenever we went to USA, it was to roller skate or to just watch concerts by groups like Run DMC. No one was breaking, and so 84 for me was when it died. And then thankfully, again, Crazy Legs was like,
Yeah.
now I'm bringing this
Yeah.
shit back
Yeah.
again.
Let's get. We'll get there, but I want to kind of
Yeah.
go to the transition
Mhm.
because at that time, then a lot of those guys actually got older, and then you hear clubs like Latin Quarters, and like now they're starting to
Right.
kind of mix like the hip hop, the actual what they call hip hop dancing because they're doing all the social dances such as the running, or
The
the
WAP.
WAP, the Running
Yeah.
Man,
Hmm.
the Fila, stuff like
Hmm.
this, right? The Smurf and stuff like that.
Right.
Did you were you active in that, or you're just like, nah, I'm just gonna go DJ now? Like,
Once, that's a great question.
yeah,
The once I committed 100% to DJing in 84, I never looked back. So right now, if you ask me to break, the most I can give you is a little bit of top rock and maybe like a three-step footwork.
right,
But
right,
I
right.
also I got a bum elbow, and I'll probably break my arm if I try to do like some crazy shit. But yeah, like I made that commitment 100% in 84 to just DJ, and I never looked back. I didn't get caught up in the wave of dances that came in the 80s. I was more
Yeah,
so the guy playing the music for
yeah,
everyone else
yeah,
to do
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
dances.
Because obviously by that time, right, you have like, because like a lot of the guys like with Dr. Derek, I got my man Pluto Seven in the chat. We talk about that transition when it was like Pumpkin and Friends making this like a rehash of Good Times, right, with Enjoy
Hmm.
Records, and then all of a sudden here comes Marley Marl and the sampler and taking those ultimate breaks and beats, and then those same songs that were the breaks and kind of creating that sound, right? That remixed
Hmm.
James Brown sound that Marley Marl did. That Talking Eric B and Rakim and all these guys, and after that it was like
Hmm.
different, and that's where a lot of those dances came from, right? Just it was almost like a rehash of soul, right? And even like New Jack Swing, right, with Teddy Riley and stuff. So you were obviously playing the records. Were you going to? Did you start getting the gigs at these clubs, like as far as like Latin Quarters or the Tunnel and stuff like that?
No, I
Okay.
was more so, I was around during that era of Union Square
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
I was 16 by then.
Okay. Well, I mean,
And
how some guys are, right. They
yeah,
still get
yeah,
in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, well, I would more so DJ friends parties. So I was in high school by
okay.
now,
Right.
and people knew I DJ'd. So my friends would, just the way my dad's friends would ask him to DJ their birthday
Mm,
parties, wedding
right.
receptions, my friends would ask me to DJ their parties. And so I remember my friend Joanna from Newtown High School was like, "Yo, Rob, come to Corona and DJ my birthday party." And I went there and rocked it. And interestingly enough, elements of breaking were kind of, you would kind of still feel remnants of it, but
Mm,
it obviously wasn't the way it was
Yeah.
in the early 80s. I remember,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say that because I have vivid memories of DJing her party and someone running into her bedroom where I had all my shit set up, asking me, yo, throw some breaks on. We want to break, you know? And
You're like, what the hell?
yeah. And this is like 88. This is like
Right. Right.
88,
Right. Oh
89.
yeah, it's already past.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. But so you still kind of felt remnants of it. But to answer your question, yes, I was DJing, but not inside clubs. The only club I got to DJ while I was in high school was a spot on Steinway Street. I think it's called the Rivera nightclub, and it might even be a strip club now. But this is a spot on Steinway in Astoria, and my friend had like an uncle that worked there, and my friend talked his uncle into letting us DJ. So I was like 16 years old at this Queens club, you know, DJing for adults, but we killed that shit. We were playing hip hop records, Just Ice, Mantronics, breaks, you know, it was a lot of fun. That was the only venue I got to DJ at in my teens. For the most part, I was just DJing house parties.
Okay. So now I'm gonna lead into the battle thing, right? Like, was I might as well pull that up. Was that New Music Seminar 92? Was that one of your first DJ battles, or was it like you already started battling before that?
So my first battle was
Mhm.
actually in Southside Queens, Jamaica, one of the roughest areas in New York City. I remember hearing about a battle that was taking place. And no, actually, I'm lying. My first battle was in 1991 after
Okay.
training after training for 8 months with Dr. Butcher, who used to DJ for Cool G Rap.
Okay.
And I got introduced to him from by Juju, who was Psycho Less's partner, or
Right.
still
Yeah.
is in the
Right.
Beatnuts. And so we trained. He got me prepared for my first competition, which was the 1991 East Coast DMC. Placed third in that. For the following year, I entered every battle that I can think of because I wanted to use the experience of battling people as training, right?
Right.
Because I placed third. So I wanted to not just train at home, but, you know, as they say, iron sharpens iron. So I wanted to
Right.
compete against other people to develop my skill and get better. And so right after my 1991 DMC and placing third, I entered a like neighborhood battle in Southside Jamaica, Queens,
Okay.
which is like the rough. That's where like 50 Cent's from, Lost Boys, Onyx. Like
Right. 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 Right.
this is a real. I emphasize that because looking back, I'm like, yo, what the fuck was I thinking? Like going over
You're just,
there,
I need to battle.
but at the time, that's all I cared about was battling. I
Right.
did not really even consider I was entering dangerous neighborhoods. I just wanted to compete. It didn't matter. You could put me in the
Yeah.
middle of a war zone. If there was a DJ there that was supposedly nice, I would make my way there and battle that person. And so that was my second battle. Southside, it was like
So
a
wait.
neighborhood
Okay. So
battle.
so you did the
Mhm.
USA Finals in 91 and got third.
East Coast, East
Oh, East Coast.
Coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
East Coast.
Yep.
Okay, East
And
Coast.
got I placed third. Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Which isn't
yeah,
bad for my first
yeah.
battle, you know?
So were you
And
there at
then
the USA, was the USA Finals in 91 in New York as well?
the USA Finals was in Chicago in 91.
Okay. So that's when like
Yeah,
Cuba first came out. I'm sure everyone thought
that's
he was
when
on
Cuba
crack.
first came out.
I was
Yeah,
like, what the
well,
hell? Who the hell
yeah.
is this guy? You know what I mean? Like,
Again, happy birthday to Qbert, man. His
yeah,
birthday
yeah,
was
yeah.
yesterday. And the thing about Qbert in the American Finals in 1991 was A, the way he looked. And this, yo, this,
With the
no,
hat and the
yo,
beanie on top of
right, right,
it.
right. And then he had a lay
Oh,
on.
at first. Okay, I didn't see that. I
At
just saw
first,
him
right,
with the
right,
white. Okay,
exactly,
right.
right. And so this speaks to what you and I were talking about earlier with regards to what hip hop is. The beauty of our culture is that it accretes by attaching itself to everything. Everything. It doesn't segregate, it integrates. So
Right.
we're in Sean C's house. Sean C is an original member of the X-Men. Steve D's there because
Okay.
he's explaining to us why he placed second in the 1991 American DMC finals, right?
Right.
And he has the videotape. Sean C puts the videotape inside his mom's VCR, and then we're watching this guy Qbert, who, yo, up until 1991, we were used to watching black DJs, Latino DJs, white DJs, whether they were white American or white European, and maybe one Japanese DJ, Honda,
Right.
cut it
Right.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're watching this guy that doesn't look Japanese. We thought he was Hawaiian because,
Oh,
again,
because
he
of the
had a
way.
leg. Right. So we thought he was Hawaiian. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what a Filipino person was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's this guy, Hubert, and then the look wasn't all that kind of had us like, yo, who is this guy? And like, this just looks different to us. The sound, what he was doing sonically was just out of the box. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my next battle that I entered, the 1991 New Music Seminar Battle for Supremacy that Clark Kent hosted, had Hubert as a judge. And that's when I
Yeah.
first met him.
Yeah.
And we talked right after the battle. He gave me his number. He's like, yo, Rob, man, here's my number. I gave him my number. It's like, yo, man, let's stay in touch. And it wasn't until I started calling him and having actual conversations that I found out that he's from the Philippines
Right.
and that there's
Yeah.
this community of Filipino DJs in San Francisco and the Bay Area that get down just like him. And
Right.
that is the beauty of this culture, bro, is that it doesn't exclude anyone. Anybody from anywhere, from a variety of classes, economic backgrounds, can enter this culture of hip hop and contribute and add on. And after Cuba came onto the scene, forget it. Yo, dudes were like doing all that crazy shit that he was doing in the 1991 DMC. And real quick, I would like to, people that are familiar with the bridge Public Enemy routine, where
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
move the pitch
Right.
and on a song called Blow Your Head, pause.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I drop the drums from the bridge, MC
Right.
Shan Marley Marl. The
Yeah.
idea of moving the pitch I got from watching Qbert in the 1991
Okay.
American finals, because he
Yeah.
did that tone play with Mary
Yeah.
Had a Little Lamb with that ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Shout out
that
to 8 Ball, man. That guy. Shout out to 8 Ball
and
too.
then
He was a
8 Ball,
guy.
right? Another Filipino DJ
Right.
took
Yeah.
that tone play to the next level. But
Next level. Yeah.
me seeing Qbert do that pitch shit is what gave me the idea to come up with that routine on the bridge Public Enemy. Obviously, I did it different than Qbert, which is the whole
Yeah.
point of hip hop.
Yep.
Whether you're a
Yep.
breaker, rapper, graph artist, or DJ, what you want to do is learn, observe. Well, I said it backwards. Observe, learn what you're observing, and then add on. And
Yeah.
so Qbert did that as a DJ, and then I did that after
Right.
watching Qbert. And that is the whole point, man, of what we do, man, is the strength in hip hop comes from the fact that everyone's open to articulate what they see a breaker rapper, DJ, or graph artist do. And it doesn't matter, whether you're black, white, Filipino, it's all about the creativity that comes out of you and whether you're contributing to the culture.
Yeah. I'm gonna play this real quick. I played a clip of DJ Honda versus Rock Raider a little bit just to give people a little bit experience of what the new music seminar was. I'm about to get into that, but I just want to watch this clip because it's like I posted on my Instagram like a little promo, and this is like this one set, and it's like I don't know, I just love it, bro. Like it's just funky to me. This part where you just let the record kind of play, right, and then you just match it. Like to me, this was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just, I was like, when I first saw that, I was like, because I'm used to Qbert and Mike and all these guys, but when I saw this, I was like, it just spoke to me, you know what I mean? It was just like that head bob, you know what I'm saying?
Right, no doubt.
And that's the thing, like, it seemed like, as far as the way you approached it, it was more on just what was it sonically? That's why that was like the thing that I see, that compared to like everyone else, you were really into like, how am I gonna make just, it doesn't matter if it's super hyper or whatever.
Right.
It's just how can I make it something different? You know what I mean?
Right,
like
no
it was
doubt,
just like
no
it's almost
doubt,
like
no
live
doubt.
production. Like let me do Premiere in real time. Yeah, like in real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so with that routine, that was me building on the bridge, blow your head pause routine.
Okay.
So the video that you just showed, I'm using like a battle break, right? On I think it might have been the right turntable, just a drum beat from a battle break record. And on the opposite turntable, I had the Resurrection Common remix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, it wasn't the remix. It was the original version.
Okay.
The original version. And on the original version, there's a part where you hear that piano chord being played. And again, I was at the time thinking like a producer on the turntables because I had just gotten an SP1200 sampler courtesy of the rapper that I was DJing for, Akinelli. So I recorded my scratches on Akinelli's first album because he tapped me to be his DJ after I won the 92 DMC. And so as payment, he gave me $500 and an SP1200.
Oh shit!
So
nice.
And I started learning how to make beats. Large Professor, big ups to Large Professor. He was a huge inspiration for me. Just sitting in the studio and watching him take one guitar lick and then build a 4-minute song from one guitar lick, and seeing that process was just amazing for me. And it reminded me of what I do as a beat juggler. And it also helped me understand the potential of what I could do, that I didn't have to just flip patterns the way Steve D was flipping patterns. I can treat this like a soundboard, like a 24-track board in the studio. It has faders, right? I could fade shit out. I could bring sounds back in. And so with that song, with the main version, the regular version of Common's Resurrection, the part where you hear those piano chords being played, what I did was I took a piece of tape, because there was no Serato back then.
Yeah.
And I strategically placed it on the part of the vinyl where those notes were playing, those piano notes, and then let the needle hit the tape so that the tape made the needle skip back.
Right.
So that's why when you were playing it earlier, I don't know if people noticed, but maybe you might want to play it again. But while it's playing, you hear the needle skipping back on the piece of tape.
Yeah, that's what, to me, that was the genius part, right? Like,
Right.
for me, I mean, for
Right.
those who don't know, because I tried to scratch a long time ago, right? But so I know exactly what you're talking about, right? You made it bounce to get back into the note and looped it.
Right.
That's what, to me, that was
And
the
looped
genius
it.
part.
Right.
Yeah, that
Because
was the genius part.
right now
Yeah.
you could take Serato, an app, and just
Yeah.
hit or click on the word loop and
Yeah.
loop a sound within a second. But I had
Yeah.
to be inventive and think, how am I going to make that sound loop? So I took a piece of tape, strategically placed it on the record. So in the video, you literally hear ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding ding.
Yep. Yeah, right there.
Now you got to rewind it. Rewind it a little. Rewind it a little. Yeah. Like before I.
Yeah, right there. Right there. Oh, look, right here. Right here. A little bit more.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there. And you know, to me, the best part was the head nod of the crowd. You know, how usually in the back in the day with those DJ battles, everyone was like, "Yeah!" This was like, everyone's here, like in unison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that's what was dope about that.
Yeah.
You know, that routine. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
That was
It's
dope.
about
Yeah, go ahead.
DJing back then was about being inventive, resourceful, having an imagination.
Right.
The same thing goes for breaking in the 70s and the early 80s. Same thing goes for rapping and graffiti. Like, not to shit on technology or anything, because I do that enough in my podcast interviews. But what I will say is that before all of this techie stuff that you could do on your phone and on your laptop, there were few of us doing what a gazillion people do now because it was so fucking hard. It was so fucking hard, right? And so you had to make the commitment to this shit. You had to make the commitment to go buy the records. You had to make the commitment to sit in front of your turntables and brainstorm, how are you going to make those piano notes loop, and sit there and figure that shit out and look at your turntable and figure it out. And now it's just so easy. Everything is just easy. I would say
I can take my phone and loop a beat right now if I wanted to, right? Like,
to me, I'll say this real quick. Right now in 2023, the element that I have most respect for above DJing, above rapping, above the art is b-boying. B-boying to me is the element that I think has stayed attached to the original tenets of what hip hop is: being resourceful, being committed more than any other element. Why? Because you guys can't use a laptop to do windmills. You guys can't rely on an app to do head spins. You guys can't rely on any kind of technology to do flares. It's your body and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the b-boy element as a DJ, I have no problem, no qualms saying that the b-boy element is the pinnacle of what hip hop is. Like it's just your body, dude, and that's it. No other instruments. You know what I'm saying? And being resourceful, being creative, being imaginative. The shit that I see b-boys do now is incredible. And DJs, a laptop will save them. Rappers have other rappers write for them. You know what I mean? And no one cares, but no one can do windmills for you. You got to do this shit yourself.
Even with the two. Okay, so the advantage of technology for us is that footage is passed around faster, but the acceleration of physical ability becomes faster. But you have to work on that. No matter what, you still have to work on it. Like no matter what. Like they're like for us in the 90s, hopefully we got that graffiti rock tape. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like kind of on that. Now we have access to that. But
yeah,
the creative part, even to this day, I still battle. Like, I still compete. I don't care to win. I just like, I'm 48. Let's see if I can hang. And not just that, I'm inspired by the young people. I'm not one of the guys that are just like, well, I did this. I have these titles. You should listen to me. I'm more like, what are you guys doing? Let's see how I can flip it, give to the conversation, and y'all flip that. To me, that's the fun part right now, right? It's not even winning. It's more like, oh, I see what you did there. That's dope. Okay, I got an idea now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's the fun part. Like, that's, you know,
yeah,
go ahead.
No doubt. And I think, and I was just going to say, I think that I know, actually, the reason I say that is because I was a B-boy. So
right.
I understand, I empathize with what it feels like to get floor burns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that in a way that someone that's a fan of hip hop and says, oh, well, yeah, the DJ is the most important element, or, you know, it's about rapping. Like, that's what makes the industry money, or whatever the case is. And it's like, nah, bro, B-boys, they're like front line, like committed. You know what I'm saying? And I have so much respect for that element of hip hop. And I feel like B-boys on this 50th year anniversary of hip hop, to me, B-boys are not celebrated enough. You know, I feel like for whatever reason, like B-boys seem to be like an afterthought in a lot of these concerts and events. And it's like, yo, have you guys, promoters, these, you know, venues that are like hosting these events and shit, have any of them stopped to think that the element that introduced hip hop to the world is the breaking element? You know, if it wasn't for ambassadors like Rocksteady Crew going to Europe, doing interviews and all that shit, we wouldn't have had movies like Wild Style and Beat Street and Breaking. Then it created the space for movies like Crush Groove and Rappin' to come out. Yo, B-boys, man, that to me is like the front line, like, you know, and it's the element, not you know, not to go off on a tangent, but like, this needs to be said because it's not said enough. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to drop these gems. Yeah, but like, I feel like too, when you think about it, everyone talks about, well, hip hop started with DJs and Kool Herc. But the thing about it is, when you think about it, breakers existed, the dance, obviously not in the term, under the term or umbrella of rocking or breaking, you know, but the dance, elements of the dance existed before Herc's first party. And then on another level, when you think about how Herc has been quoted as saying, I created this merry-go-round technique because I noticed that the B-boys would stand around and wait for this one section of the record. They'd wait for the break to come on from songs that I was playing, like The Mexican or Funky Drummer James Brown or Give It Up, Turn It Loose. And then when that break section would come, they'd start dancing. And from that, I came up with this idea. He says, from that, I came up with this idea to go from break to break to break to break from the different songs that I had in my crate. So if you sit down and analyze what he's saying, breaking inspired the merry-go-round technique. If no one was breaking on those break parts, Herc would not have come up with the idea of dropping from break to break to break to break across the plethora of songs that he had in his record crate. So, but in all due respect to Herc, I'm not saying this in a negative way, because Herc, you can't, although I have my theories about the beginning of hip hop and all that, you cannot deny if there was a Mount Rushmore of DJs, Herc's, I don't care what era we're talking about, Herc's face is on there, right?
Right.
That said, you won't hear Herc say, the B-boys inspired me. Those words, B-boys inspired me, could make such a difference in how the rest of the world views the breaker or the breaking element in hip
Yeah.
hop. But because Herc will say, well, I came up with this idea from watching breakers, just wording it that way makes it so that the focus is on him, not on what inspired him. And so, you know what I mean? Like, dude, breakers, forget it, dude. Like,
Real
yeah,
quick. Yeah.
that
Real
element
quick.
is just,
Yeah. Real quick. I mean, we've actually, I have a show called the Hip Hop Dark Web. I might need to get you on there. Where, like, we talk about this stuff, and one of the guys that I have is Pluto 7, and he says this in the chat. He says, and the original Clark Kent is the one that introduced the doubles to her, not her. So okay. So that's my man. We talk, we actually, what you just said, we talk about. Like, if it wasn't for the B-boys, like, just okay, I see what they're doing, and Charlie Rock says it himself too. If it wasn't for us, that inspired Herc to, like, what I mean, do all that type of stuff.
Yo, hip hop in the first 10 years of this, the stars of the culture were the dancers. Not the DJs, not the rappers. The dancers were the main stars,
Yeah.
And somehow 50 years later, it's like the world just forgot. And now it's all about rappers and DJs. Forget about Graph. Like, Graph isn't even like a thought at all. You know what I mean?
Right,
And I feel like breaking is an afterthought, and that's not right.
Yeah, it is what it is. We're trying. We're trying out here. That's like one of the reasons why I have this podcast, right? It's just, hey, I got to do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And my whole thing too about the show is, like, a lot of the new kids are disconnected because these kids are like 16, 17, 18. They're like disconnected. So I'm like the bridge to, like, what we grew up with. And, like, well, this is like, because, like, and that's one of the reasons why I still battle. It's not to win, it's to be like, I'm still relevant, and they treat me as relevant. Then they ask me questions, and because I'm a hip hop head, and it's good to study the different elements because it might inspire you. If you want to be even more creative than you are, touch these different things, and just, I think that's another thing that someone else mentioned. My man Tamal from Carry the Culture mentioned, we all have a hand style. I could do a flare scratch and a chirp, and you know what I mean? Like, it was like I could do, like, you know what I mean? I used to rap at this. I just posted a picture on my Instagram when I used to rap back in '94 or whatnot. So it was like, we all just kind of have this universal language of just, like, wanting to touch the other elements. And, like, this is the first time in the generations of hip hop where you don't necessarily have that anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just trying to build that bridge with everyone right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get Wild Child from Luke Pack on here and just interview, because he used to dance too, and, like, he could talk about, like, Oxnard and LA and stuff like that, and and even with Redmatic, we talked about, like, how he used to try to pop or whatever for a second, but then got into DJing. And so there's this universal thing that we need to spread to the youth, but we can't do it by just, like, shaking our fingers, like,
right. No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, because then they're just gonna shut down and not listen.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Right. You know what I mean? It's, for me, they listen to me because, like, well, damn, you just beat me. How'd you do that? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Or, this is the funniest thing. Is that I'll get to the finals and they'll beat me. It's like, yeah, I smoked you. I go, bro, I'm 48. Like, you're supposed to smoke me. Like, you're supposed to.
Yeah,
you're
like, that's funny when, like, the same thing occurs in the DJ world. Like,
oh, dope.
Dope. Same exact thing. And it's like, yo, like the generation that comes after should be better than the previous generation.
Yes.
And when I see a DJ that's younger, that has been doing it for quite some time, but still struggles to do basic DJ techniques, I'm like, yo, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Right.
Because you have access to more information than I did when I was your age doing it. You should be twice as good,
Right.
But sometimes the younger DJs that are twice as good, to them, it's like, yeah, and I'm better. And it's like, you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be.
You're supposed to be better.
All of y'all supposed to be better
be.
than the generation that came before you.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because like I think the problem with it is that there's too much information. And that's what someone like you helps, because you're curating these little nuances they might miss. Because it's different when you're watching a video than someone is in front of you the whole time and saying, "No, did you see that little thing? You did it. You didn't." And it's sometimes it's good. Like you'd be like, "Well, use that, but that's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to do this now." And then now that you know this basic, now add what you just did and then mix it up or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope. That's dope to hear too. You know, that's dope to hear. Okay, we're about an hour 15 in. Man, I haven't even gotten to like some of the stuff I want to get into. Real quick though. So you mentioned, you know, like it died. We're going to go back to breaking real quick. For you, it died at 84. Wow, you're the earliest out of all the guests. That's great. And you're in New York. And you're in New York on top of that. But that makes sense, right? Because it goes faster. Trends went faster back then. So, you know, DJ Renegade from the UK really pointed this out, because I remember the first the first Rocksteady reunion in '91. I was 16. I was out here, but I heard about it, right? And someone brought up the fact that, well, Legs brought that up because you needed something to do after the new music seminar. I was like, oh, okay. Because it was all linked, right? Because you had the MC battles, right? And you had the DJ battles. So it made sense, even though there wasn't B-boy battles, to have a reunion at Rocksteady Park and then bring everyone over there just to chill, hang out, and watch whoever. That's the thing that kind of brought back, like, well, not the scene fully, but just the interest in America anyway.
Right.
The interest in the whole, and that thus being like, and even with Hubert being the West Coast Rocksteady DJ. Do you know what I mean? Like DJ Apollo, Mixmaster Mike. There was like kind of this theme, like, well, we got the DJs, right? Like, you know, Mike just won the New Music Seminar in '92, and like, well, like, let's all go over here and like, let's all just congregate, hang out, be by the bench, watch these kids dance or whatever. Maybe whoever's playing, maybe Flash is playing or whatever like that. But that was like, in America, that was kind of like the first like resurgence of like, well, let's try to put this together again. You know what I'm saying? I got to give a shout out to Rocksteady crew as far as that.
Big shout to Ken Swift. Big shout to Ken Swift. You know?
Yeah. I mean, so that's,
I say that because we always, all of us always shout Legs and Swift, Kenny. That dude is nasty still. To me, he's like the one B-boy that has been able to like transcend every generation. You know, and I named myself Swift. I put the Swift after Rob because of Ken Swift.
No way. That's dope. That's crazy because, so Legs was the guy that was more of, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's dope, but he was more of the guy going to like the Source magazine going, remember Rocksteady crew, right? Like I'm at the pictures like, let's congregate and put this together. But to act the actual B-boy, and even Ken Swift said himself, like, my prime was the 90s. That's when I was like on. I was smoking guys, and I didn't even have power moves. While like at that level, we were like, you know, physically we're already taking the dance to the next level. But he was like, let me remix these basics and present it to you in an ill way. And I just smoked you without anything crazy, just my style and my approach, right? So
that's good he is.
Right. So shout out to Ken Swift. That's crazy that your name is Rob Swift because of Ken Swift.
Yep.
All right. So I got this video real quick. I'm gonna play, and I mean, I'm just gonna flex this a little bit just because I remember when I first saw that, I was like, no freaking way. And it's this. It's the Gap commercial. I was like,
motion, though. Sounds slow motion.
My bad. Yeah. That's cool. Sounds cool. It sounds cool still. Sounds ill.
My first
and you got the girl from Knight's Tale too.
Yep.
So it's crazy because, you know, what's dope is because I remember I had Short on the show and I showed him the same video. I was like, I gotta have Rob now. Now that I had you on the show, now I have both DJs that was in that commercial. So I mean, that first of all, it was like, wait, what's Short doing I remember at first because I didn't talk to him and I just saw it on TV and I was like, wait, that's Rob Swift. I go, wait a second, that's Short. What the hell? And then that's the chick from Knight's Tale. Like, and then the commercial.
Shannon Sossaman.
Yeah,
Shannon Sossaman.
And I was like, whoa, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at that point, it was just kind of like you guys were battle DJs and you guys were in a national aired commercial and stuff. Did that play a part as far as maybe more people getting into like the DJ scene from like that exposure, or was like the height, or was like tell us about that whole journey?
1000% that played a part in more people getting into DJing. 1000%.
Really?
Okay. Hell yeah, definitely. I stand on that because here's the thing: that commercial came out in 2001, right. The fall Gap campaign of 2001. They did other commercials with Daft Punk and Julia Roberts. They did one with LL Cool J. They did one with Run DMC. And they did one with us, myself, Shortcut, Shannon Sossaman. What commercial between 1973 when hip hop started and 2001 featured DJs? There were no commercials. You know what I'm saying? I'll answer that for you. There were none. We broke ground, bro. And there are people. I remember watching Monday Night Football with my feet up, like eating pizza, whatever the case is, and then the commercial would just come on out of nowhere. Like, there were people in places like Idaho and Nebraska that didn't know what scratching was, seeing a black dude and a Filipino dude with this beautiful actress getting busy. Like, bro, that shit for me was like the first pebble in the water, so to speak, that caused the ripples that became this industry that we know now to be DJing with dudes like Tiesto and Dead Mouse and all that shit. That was the fucking beginning, bro. That was the beginning. And then after that, you had the whole rap rock wave with groups like Linkin Park.
Yeah.
POD.
Limp Bizkit,
exactly.
Yeah.
Doing what rappers weren't fucking doing for their own colleagues.
I remember when I said, and this was like when Linkin Park, I go, you know that Linkin Park is the most hip hop crew out there. People used to want to like freaking stone me, but I'm like, yo, they have B-boys on their tour. Yep. I mean, Fred Durst ain't the best MC, but he's MCing.
Like, on top of that, Linkin Park, when they were touring after we recorded "It's Going Down" with them for the Built from Scratch Executioners album, sophomore album. Yeah. Right after that tour, I remember having a conversation with Mike Shinoda, and he was like, "Yo, Rob, I want to do like a DJ battle. Could you give me advice on?" And what he was asking me was he wanted to do a DJ battle in the middle of their Linkin Park tour, like have DJs compete like before their show, right? And he was like asking me for advice on how to curate the battle. You know, like
crazy.
Linkin Park and that whole rap rock era, those bands did more for DJing with regards to exposing it to the world than any hip hop rapper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And you know what's funny too? You know what's funny too? You know what the rappers were doing through the 90s?
Dat machine, right?
They were getting DAT machines. They were getting, which is the equivalent of a laptop now. They were for those that may not understand that are like under 35 or whatever.
Right.
A DAT machine is a digital audio tape. So you would go to a studio and curate your set, your 30-minute set or your 45-minute set, and then you would have your road manager hit play on the DAT, and then you would perform your set to the DAT and not bring a DJ on the road.
Right.
That's what rappers were doing in the 90s.
Yeah.
So that early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004 time period set everything in motion for what DJing is right now in 2023. I stand on that shit, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Because now it's like, in all honesty, right now, even though they're not hip hop DJs are a bigger draw than a lot. Like as far as these 100%. Festivals, it's totally done. Like you know what I mean. Right now, they even say like modern day contemporary hip hop artists can't fill in a stadium. But if you take an EDM DJ, forget about it. It's done, and it could be only one headline. It doesn't have to be a festival. Right now they have to go to Rolling Loud all together, and still. But right now, people aren't even selling tickets yet. They'll all come for whoever we name. And that's dope that you say that because I'm thinking about it now. It's like there was no one on TV that was like that represented DJ.
Nobody. No one in your chat right now that's watching can reference a DJ, let alone the caliber of a Shortcut or Rob Swift in a commercial that was playing nationwide up until 2001, dude. And then after that, then you started seeing DJs in commercials. And I'm telling you, bro, that was an amazing time. And I am super proud to have been a part of that and to have been able to expose the art of DJing to people outside of the hip hop community. Because people within hip hop, the industry understood what DJs did and what their connection to the culture. But number one, they were being marginalized by the record industry and by rappers. And as a result, we had to create our own subculture, which became turntablism in the late 90s, from the mid to late 90s. It became turntablism. And our thing was to reference Qbert, to bring it back to him. I remember I would call Qbert, he would call me, and we would sit on the phone and we would literally be like, fuck these rappers. Let's figure out a way to put together our own shows, our own tours. And that's what we did. We got together and we would set up we set up our own tours. And that's why, when you watch 90s videos or turntablist videos like Executioners, Invisible Scratch Pickles, Beat Junkies, when you watch those videos, you'll see no rappers. It's all just mad turntables on the stage and us just scratching forever and beat juggling and all that because we decided, we're gonna create our own subculture, our own movement, and it became turntablism. So that then set up the space for movies like Scratch to come out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then the Gap commercial with myself and Short and Shannon Sossaman. Then the whole rap rock era with Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit. And here we are, 2023. The DJ is the most celebrated element of hip hop when you think about it. In terms of like you said, shows and all that. It's not to say that rappers aren't important, but everybody wants to be a DJ before anything else.
What you just said, because of technology, you could actually not know how to mix or scratch, look good, and then just press a button and you're getting hired. That's just what it is, right?
Social media has a big social media also plays a big role in that as well. You don't got to get booked at gigs, or you don't have to worry about having residencies. You could just live stream and
Yeah.
create a following, you know? So it's just easier now. And that level of commitment that we had, it's not necessary anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's super niche though, but again, the value goes up as you get more specialized. In my opinion, that's just how
Mhm.
my approach. I reframe
Yeah,
it as
what
that.
I mean, I agree with you. What I mean to say, I probably said that wrong, is the level of commitment that it took for me to establish myself and cement my name in music. That degree of commitment has declined a lot, in the sense that you don't need to devote years to building your record collection. You don't
Oh, okay.
need to devote
All right.
years to creating routines that would stand the test of time and would be talked about, you know, because you did this battle and you introduced this routine, and you don't
Right.
need to do any of that. All you got to do is be attractive, be personable.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
really what it is. That's what DJing is now. Like, so that
Yeah.
level of commitment that I feel my era had doesn't exist anymore, because all you really need is a great personality, be attractive, be personable, you know, likable, and have a controller and a laptop. And that's
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
I don't say that to like talk down on what DJing is today, but I think it is important to establish the the fact that it has gotten diluted, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
I'm just thankful to still be here, you know what I'm
There
saying?
you
And
go. Yeah.
still be relevant for sure, because it's you could get lost in the sauce
Oh yeah, for sure.
now.
So okay, so we're at hour 30 in, and we're about to wrap it up. But before we do, I just got to get this last word. So we talked about the DJ, like a segue into like where the DJs are at right now, right? And not necessarily hip hop DJs, but a few hip hop DJs are headlining, bringing in a bunch of big crowds. What's your opinion on the state of just hip hop in general, like as a whole, not just like obviously rap,
Yeah.
but as far as the DJing, as far as breaking, as far as graffiti, as far as MCing.
Look, man, I'm not gonna miss words. Hip hop is fractured right now. I think that the elements are alive, but it's like they're on different islands. Like every element, breaking, DJing, rapping, graffiti, seems to exist autonomously. And what I mean by that is, like,
Yeah.
when I was coming up in the late 70s, 79 is when I started breaking. 84, no, 83 is when I started DJing. Between that, I interacted with the rap element. I used to write rhymes in homeroom class. I used to tag up my school. My tag was Rob Ski. I interacted with every element because that's just what you did as a kid immersed in this culture that we call hip hop. I feel like now the elements exist, but autonomous of each other. So if you're 19 and you see someone DJ on YouTube, you go out and you buy the controller and you buy the laptop, and then you download the hip hop music and you're a hip hop DJ, but you've never interacted with the breaking element. You've
Right.
never written a rhyme. You've
Right.
never written graffiti. All you do is break. I'm sorry, DJ.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for breakers.
Yep.
You go to a breaking tournament, a breaking
Mm-hmm.
battle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
B-boy battle over the, Red Bull, and
Mm-hmm.
you got cats breaking to like Know the Ledge,
Oh,
Rakim.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not dissing Rakim. Rakim's one of my
Right.
favorite MCs, right?
Yeah.
I have all his catalog. What I'm saying is, there's no connection from a lot of these young b-boys, from what I see, to like the 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 core of what breaking is, bro. That like they're breaking the music that, like, I don't know, for me is detached from the origins of what birthed the dance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So breakers are on their island. Rappers don't even get me started.
I
Like,
think we all know.
yeah,
I
right.
think we
Like
all know. It's
rappers are
very
they're the
present.
fucking worst. They're the worst. Dude. Like I don't even know. Like I would say I don't know what 98% who DJs. I don't know who DJs for 98% of the people who rap now. That makes no sense to me. To me, rappers and DJs are there's the relationship supposed to be symbiotic. You know what I mean? And but it's not. And then DJs, my element of hip hop, like DJs today, bro, like you ask them, it's like a battle DJ. Take a DMC battle DJ, right?
Yeah.
He'll get off stage and you'll ask him, yo, what was that song that you was using, that break that you was using, 2 minutes into your routine? And they won't know that it's a sample from Baby Huey or something like that, or a Tribe sample. It's like, yo, you're a DJ. How do you not know the music that you're a DJ? Your brain's supposed to be a library of sounds and music, but all they know is like battle break records. Or they may download someone else's hard drive, and it's like they have this music, but they have no relationship with the music or the artist that made the music that they're playing, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, as a DJ, bro, like, you should know the intricacies of everything that you play, down to like even who engineered it. You know what I mean? But the song, that is, right? But that's what I mean. Like, hip hop now, the four elements are fractured, and then you have people that want to claim the culture for themselves and not, you know what I'm saying? They don't understand. They don't understand that this is a culture that belongs to the world, that it's universal, the universal Zulu nation, not the black Zulu nation, the universal Zulu nation, right? These are the tenets of hip hop: peace, unity, love, having fun. There are people that want to claim this culture, that people that aren't even practitioners of hip hop, they're like, all they know is Jay-Z, Biggie, and Nas. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They want to claim this is their. Yo, right now, hip hop is fractured. It's fractured. And I'm thankful that there are cats like yourself, podcasters, platforms that try to stay true to the core values of what this culture is, because if it wasn't for someone like you, or even someone like myself who uses their platform to educate people on the history of hip hop, yo, dude, there probably wouldn't even be a reason for us to be talking right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's fractured, but again, we are still here. So that's the positive. That's the silver lining in it all.
Yeah, man. Hold on one second. Give me a second. Put myself back. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me do this. Something happened with my thing. My bad. We're back. Yeah. But,
No, so I was saying, although I just kind of had my little spiel.
Yeah, it's all good, bro.
On my soapbox, and kind of broke down why hip hop is fractured right now. I think the silver lining is that there are people like yourself, platforms that exist that are preserving the culture, and that's important. And I try to use my platform in the same way. I could just talk about all that I've done, and I'm a DJ and I'm touring here, and come check me out here, and ESPN and this and that. I could just focus on that, but the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of us pioneers, figureheads, just want to focus on our individual place within this culture and our individual contributions. But we got to talk about the
Yeah.
whole more often, because it's about the culture, the four elements, not a rap song or who's your top
Top
five.
five. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo,
Everyone's there. Who's your top five?
it's like, dude, like you guys have such a narrow scope of what this genre of music, how this genre of music came to be, and the bigger culture of hip hop. It's like, yeah, man, it's crazy right now. So people like yourself are very important. As fractured as it is, there are pockets that are trying to keep it together, you know?
Oh
So
yeah, we trying. Yeah, we trying.
kudos
I
to
mean,
you.
yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for, and even you. Let's talk about real quick before we sign out too. Talk about what you got going on with your school and stuff like that. That way,
Thank
you know
you,
what I mean?
man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you asking, man. I
Yeah.
got a DJ school that I launched. I got a DJ school that I launched smack dab in the middle of the COVID lockdown, called Brolic Army DJ School. It's a hub for DJs worldwide. It doesn't matter where you live, where you come from, what time zone you're DJing from. You could log on to the site and stream over 100 videos. And these videos contain tutorials on the different facets of DJing, from the basics, understanding how to work the equipment, how to lift the needle up properly, how to place it on the record, how to cue up a sound, how to listen to the fundamentals of more advanced techniques like beat juggling, scratching. I have advanced videos on there for DJs that want to learn how to put together battle routines and level up so that their streams are more fun to watch, and they could post their little 60-second, videos showing off. I have masterclass courses with DJs like 8 Ball, Total Eclipse, Mike C, the pillars of turntablism, teaching their unique secret styles. And so Brolic Army DJ School, man, like I'm super proud of my students that have joined, that have helped build the school up to what it is now. I'm thankful for them. And yeah, it's a great hub, man, for people to just learn about this art form. And hopefully it'll keep growing.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, man, right. And before we sign off, I have to just say this just on some we like the thing is you didn't know me, but I was around you a lot actually, and
Really?
I'll name three things. So Derek D, he did the Beat Lounge. I was like one of the first
Mm-hmm.
guys there on that. So I've seen you come
That's
in
right.
there before.
Wow. When I was skinny.
Yeah, we haven't talked about your workout stuff yet.
Yeah.
I'm big into that right now.
No doubt.
The second was I was an usher at ScratchCon. Like I worked under
Oh
Yoga
my
Frog.
God. Wow, that's crazy.
So I was there for that. I was there for ScratchCon.
Yeah.
And I was in Colombia with you for Hip Hop Al Parque. We were the US crew when you guys were there.
Oh shit. So which one? Which one? Because I did Hip Hop Al Parque twice.
Yeah, that was the one.
Was I by myself or was I with the executioner?
You were with everyone. You're with everyone.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah.
Everyone. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And then here we are.
It was we were the crew in the finals, and we lost to the Colombian crew. That was my fault.
Or was it politics?
No. I mean, they deserved it. I shouldn't have got out last. I was out last. I wasn't used to the humidity. And that was in front of 60,000 people, which was amazing. Which was amazing. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I've been around you. You didn't realize I was just
watching. Yeah. Well, so that's the beauty too of our culture, is that because you could be a breaker, I could be a DJ, but because of the concept that Bambaataa had with these four elements kind of moving together in unison, you're gonna have a lot of that. You're gonna have
Oh yeah.
events like
Oh
Hip
yeah.
Hop al Parque
Yeah.
in Colombia, of all
Yeah.
places of the world, not New
Yeah.
York where hip hop
Yep.
started, but Colombia, where
Yeah.
like b-boys will interact with DJs. Like
Yeah.
that's how it's meant for us to experience this culture. So it doesn't surprise me to hear you say, yo, I was at Hip Hop al Parque. I was b-boying though, and you were
Yeah.
DJing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's what
Yeah.
this culture is about, man. Like the elements kind of moving together in unison. And so yo, man, it was an honor to sit down with you, you know,
Yeah,
as
bro.
a former b-boy. I respect what you do, and you know, big ups to all the b-boys out there, all the
Yeah.
DJs, all the MCs, and even the graph writers, man. Like, you know, this is an amazing culture, man. Four elements that just
Yeah. We
redefined what kids, poor kids, ghetto kids in the Bronx could do. You know, amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So you can follow Rob Swift on Instagram at Brolic Arm. And if you're wondering why his handle's that, you got the guns. Obviously, you saw the videos when he was skinny. Now he's got the guns. And you can follow me on Instagram at PRFO_FLGZ. This has been The Trades with Rob Swift. Peace. And see you guys later. And we out.